What's up, everyone? This is the Jose Show. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. And as we all know, it's almost the weekend. It's Thursday. So, we got a lot of cool topics to talk about today. So, now let's get started. So, as we all know, the Grammys are coming up. And yes, I just mentioned this yesterday, but since the Grammys are coming up, there are a lot of odds and um, of course, some not so odds for winning for the Grammys for this year's nominees. And for album of the year, it seems like a pretty tight race because last year it was dominated by hip hop completely. And since last year was dominated by hip hop, the album of the year seems like it's going to be won by a hip hop album. And especially because the category is filled with a lot of hip hop albums. And I feel like the Grammys' motive of even nominating all of these hip hop albums was not only because of how huge they were this past year, but also because they want to see a hip hop album win already for album of the year. Because the last time a hip hop album won album of the year at the Grammys was 15 years ago. That was a long time ago. And lately we've seen a lot of pop albums win album of the year. And now they just want to see a hip hop album for once just win, just to give out a good image and to prevent any discrimination from the hip hop albums. So I think this is what's really going on. I honestly think that um, they are maybe having a point on this because I mean it is about time that a hip hop album would be dominating the charts and I mean would be dominating the Grammys and but at the same time I feel like they kind of don't have a point because I feel like the Grammys they should just give the award to the person that deserves it, to the album that deserves it, to the album that shows the Grammy worthiness of it, instead of just giving it to that album just because of their genre and just because a genre hasn't won in so much time. I mean, I feel like this whole entire win thing should depend on the talent and on the creativity for it to actually win a Grammy, for it to actually deserve to win a Grammy, and not for it to just be that kind of situation where a rap album, a certain genre has to win just because a certain genre hasn't won in so many years, really. Because that has, to me, that has nothing to do with the creativity and the talent of what an album would deserve to win Album of the Year. So, yeah, and as we all know, these past 3 years, we've seen huge albums, and not just huge albums, but even huge artists win Album of the Year. Back in 2016, we saw, who did we saw win for Album of the Year? Taylor Swift. We saw 1989 by Taylor Swift win. And then in 2017, we saw 25 by Adele win Album of the Year. And then last year, we saw Bruno Mars win Album of the Year. And now this year, we don't know who's going to win, but I mean, there are some odds of who might win and who might not win. Maybe maybe Drake might win this one this year because he had a huge year last year with his music. He had multiple number one hits and multiple number one debuts in one album, which made him the first artist since Mariah Carey's Daydream in 1995 to be the artist with the album that has multiple number one debuts. So yeah, I mean now Ariana happens to be the one that has the record now, especially by being the first female. But but honestly, Drake, because of that record, he deserves to win, and especially because of all the streaming success that he had. I mean, we gotta look at that streaming success that he had. He was like literally one of the most streamed artists of last year. One of the most streamed artists of last year. One of the most acclaimed artists too, I believe. Really, so yeah, I feel like Drake, he might have album of the year locked up for him. He might have it in the bag for him. That's what I think. And if it's not gonna go to him, then I feel like probably Invasion of Privacy could win this one, because Cardi B had a huge year, especially for a first album by a new artist like Cardi. That is insane. That is crazy. That is impressing. Her first album sold a lot of copies. It sold over 260,000 copies in 1 week, and in the week of its release. And it happened to be one of the fastest streaming albums by a female artist, surpassing Taylor Swift's Reputation on Apple Music. So that was also very good. And also, it happened to have multiple number one hits, not debuts, but number one hits. It had I Like It, and then it had the other number one hit single, Bodak Yellow. So with that being said, she has she might have it locked up too for album of the year. So I think the album of the year category could be a Cardi B Drake battle. As for Post Malone with Beer Bongs and Bentleys, I see some. The odds of him winning are kind of high. Um, but with him, he seems like he might not win it, because I mean his music was huge last year. He dominated 2018 too, but he happened to not really. His music happens to not be as well acclaimed or as well received as Cardi's and Drake's were, because I saw the well acclaim that Invasion of Privacy had last year, and then I saw the well acclaim that Drake Scorpion had. But with Beer Bongs and Bentleys, I mean, I don't see it much. I see some acclaim and I see some positive stuff out of the album, especially with in terms of him starting as a, as a rapper. I mean, starting as the new artist, because he is a new artist. I mean, Beer Bongs and Bentleys, I believe, happens to be his first album. No, it happens to be his second album. My bad. It happens to be his second album, but still, he's still starting off, and I mean, his odds, I mean, are I think are not as high as Cardi's to be winning, because of the acclaim, and I feel like the Grammys, they focus more on the acclaim, and of course the streams and somewhat of the popularity, but I mean they focus more on the acclaim, because to the Grammys, they focus more on what is talent than of what is with the popularity. The Grammys are not just any award show, especially, which is the reason to why none of us can vote. It's all dependent on Grammy voters. So yeah. Now on to best pop vocal album. Camila Cabello with Camila is nominated. Beautiful Trauma by Pink is nominated. Reputation by Taylor Swift is nominated. Sweetener by Ariana Grande is nominated. Shawn Mendes by Shawn Mendes is nominated. So yeah, I think that's all the albums that I mentioned. Um, I feel like Ariana could win this one at last. She could finally win her first Grammy this year because she did excellent with Sweetener. That album sold a great amount of copies, of course, and of course the Grammys focus on that. But most importantly, it was very well acclaimed. It received universal acclaim, which is really good. And the album was well written. Um, it had the good condiments to become a great album and to have good music and to have the good music and the good beats and of course the good lyrics. So I feel like Sweetener could have a huge chance of winning the award. And for best pop solo performance, we have God Is a Woman by Ariana Grande, Havana live version by Camila Cabello. We have Colors by Beck, and then God Is a Woman, and then we have oh yes, and then we have Kelly Clarkson in the category, and yeah, I think that's about it. Wait, no. And then we have, man, see, Beautiful Trauma. No, we have Bex, Color by Bex. God Is a Woman. Nicolette Clarkson for best pop solo performance. Then Camila, Beck, Ariana, Kelly Clarkson. Oh, and we have Better Now by Post Malone. So, in this category, I feel like God Is a Woman has a huge chance into winning this one. And the reason why is because the song I feel was lyrically it was well written, and the song has a really good tempo. It has a really good vibe for it to be Grammy worthy, and then it was a huge hit. It was a top 10 hit, and of course it came out of a highly acclaimed album like Sweetener. So I mean, why wouldn't it win? So and also, um, I feel like it's the best song in the category, hands down. Now, on to the other songs. The live version of Havana, it was alright, but to be honest, I don't think it sounds all that similar to the number one hit version of it, which happens to be the collaboration with Young Thug. And also, since it doesn't sound all that similar to it, and since it's not even the version of the song, and it's the same song but of a different version of it though, I think its chances of it winning are low because like I said, the Grammys, they not only go for the highly acclaimed songs, but they even go for the ones that are highly popular, the ones that were number one hits. And this version of Havana never went number one. And it also doesn't sound, I don't think it sounds as similar as to the number one version of it does, which is the one with Young Thug. So I don't think Camila could pull off Happy by Pharrell Williams in this one, because I know that 4 years ago, Happy by Pharrell Williams won Best Pop Solo Performance, but it was because his song, the live version of it, happened to be similar to the number one hit version of it, because it was a solo song just like the number one hit version of it was. And with this version of Camila's, which happens to be the live version, which happened to just be the solo, which happened to be her doing it solo and not with Young Thug, it's not really similar to the number one version, so it's not really eligible for it to win, really. And now, as for Colors by Beck, yeah, I don't see it winning at all. I mean, no offense, but I just not so many people would really be into. I don't think so many Grammy voters would be into voting for him. I mean, his music isn't bad. I mean, really, and his music is well written and all, but many of the Grammy voters would only focus on the popular and well acclaimed songs, and not just in those songs that are acclaimed, but at the same time not so popular and not so, what's it called? Not so familiar with today's music, because I feel like Beck's music might not be as relatable to today's music as what more people would listen to. It's my thought, but Beck's music is good though. But it's just like, no offense, but that's what I think. Now, as for, see, Kelly Clarkson, she's had her chances. She's won a few in the past, and the few of the songs that she's won in the past for Best Pop Solo Performance, they've been huge hits, not just well acclaimed, but also huge hits. Just like with Stronger, for example, when she won that award for the Grammys for Best Pop Solo Performance, that song was a huge hit, so it was obvious that it was going to win because of how not only of a huge hit it was, but also well acclaimed it was. I heard that it received praise by critics, so that was obvious that it was going to win the Grammy. So yeah, I feel, and then for Post Malone, for Better Now, I feel like he's definitely not gonna win this one. He's more of a he's more of a hip hop artist, and his music belongs more to the hip hop genre. And I feel like this song belongs more to the hip hop genre, and it wasn't even supposed to be nominated in this genre in the first place. He's just lucky he even got nominated in this category. I'm just saying. But he's not gonna make the cut. He's not gonna win. That's for sure. So yeah, I think the winner in this category, in my prediction, is going to be God is a Woman by Ariana Grande for Best Pop Solo Performance. Because it's the most well acclaimed song, and it's the most popular song in the category. Because pop song, because I know Better Now peaked at number 3 in the Hot 100, and God is a Woman peaked at number 8 in the Hot 100. But I mean, Better Now isn't really isn't really all that much of a pop song. It's more of a hip hop song. So I'll have to say that the winner is God is a Woman by Ariana, because the song is the most popular and well acclaimed pop song of the category. So that song should definitely win Best Pop Solo Performance, and I think Ariana has this one in the bag. Okay, so now I talked a lot about the pop categories. Now, onto the rap categories. Now, for Best Rap Album, I noticed that Cardi B is up for a nomination for Invasion of Privacy, and Mac Miller, he's up for a nomination for his album Swimming, which rest in peace. And what I noticed was that Drake did not make it in the cut for Best Rap Album. And that really shocks me, because his album was the most popular hip hop album, and I think album in general, of 2018. Like, if they nominated him for Album of the Year, then why didn't they nominate him at all for Best Rap Album? That is my question. So I feel like he completely got snubbed in this category. But I feel like maybe Drake didn't get nominated in this category because maybe the Grammys want to give Cardi B a chance. Either her or Mac Miller, the late Mac Miller. Because the Grammys noticed that Drake receives so much praise and so much popularity, and he breaks so many records and all this. He's like very huge right now with all of that, that they know that if they nominate him in that category, he would win that category, and he wouldn't give Cardi B or Mac Miller the chance. So in this category, I predict that maybe Mac Miller could win this one, because I heard that this album really received a lot of praise by critics, and it was lyrically well and all that. But at the same time, I feel like Cardi B might have more of the chances, though, because Cardi B's album was even well lyrically made, and it was better received by critics. I noticed it got an 84 out of 100 in critic points, which is marvelous. That's universal acclaim right there. So there are chances that Cardi B could win, and I feel and I predict that Cardi B could be the winner for this category for her album Invasion of Privacy. That's what I think. So I feel like Cardi B could win her first Grammy this year, really. As we all know, she was nominated twice last year for Bodak Yellow for Best Rap Song and Best Rap Song / Performance. And she didn't win them, but I mean, her getting nominated was huge already. But Cardi, since she got nominated for those two categories last year, she wasn't eligible for the Best New Artist category. She was not nominated for the Best New Artist category at all. And it's because the Grammys now came up with a new rule that any artist that was nominated in the past for a category besides Best New Artist isn't eligible for being nominated in the Best New Artist category this year. That's the new rule for the Grammys. So yeah, that's the reason why Cardi B got shut out, and Camila Cabello and Post Malone. So yeah, But who we do see in the nominee section, though, of Best New Artist is BB Rexa, Dua Lipa, and I feel like maybe BB Rexa could win this one because her song Meant to Be was a huge hit, not just here in the USA, but even worldwide. And BB Rexa, she even gave it her all with her crossover from pop to country. Really, especially with the collaboration with Florida Georgia Lines, that's impressing. So I feel like BB Rexa could have a huge chance of winning Best New Artist, and she has a. I could predict that she will win. I could highly predict that BB Rexa will win Best New Artist. I really do. Dua Lipa, she would have the chance if BB Rexa wasn't in the category because she even had a huge hit, um, which happened to be New Rules, her song New Rules, which did phenomenal in the charts and all. But BB Rexa's song Meant to Be was a bigger hit, and I feel like BB Rexa would happen to be the winner for this category. So, yeah. Well, anyway, these were my predictions, and these were my thoughts on the Grammy nominations. We'll have to wait and see who the real winners are on February the 10th on the Grammys that are going to be on ABC at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So don't miss it. Thank you guys so much for watching The Jose Show. Till next time.